Imagine this. You played a game years ago and you loved it, and before you were done with it, you played the absolute out of it. Now a long time has passed and you want to come back to it and play it again. You finally convince yourself to play it again and something incredible happens. It turns out that the game has become even more fantastic than you first remember. This happened with me recently when I played Dying Light again. Dying Light is one of my favorite games of all time. Hell, I love it so much I have the following enhanced edition on PlayStation 4, and to play it again I recently bought it on PC as well because of an incredible sale, but mainly because I wanted to play with friends. The game does not have crossplay and I don't have PlayStation Plus. Now I've had my fair share with zombie games in the past and I've made a couple of videos about them. This one is my most watched video essay slash review on this channel. But why is it that even after all these years and even after all these other zombie games later, Dying Light is still loved so much by so many people and kept in a different category? Well, this is what I'm about to answer in this video, so be sure to watch the full video to find out why Dying Light is still amazing. And as always, if you do enjoy this video at any point, please consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel so that you may never miss out on any future content. 50 likes on this video and I'll make another one. The city of Haran has been brought to its knees by a virus that has turned most of the citizens into zombies. You play as Kyle Crane, a secret GRE agent, and you drop into the city to recover a file. But as soon as you land, you get bitten, but some of the survivors save you. Soon you realize that everything is not as it seems and you find out there's a bigger conspiracy brewing up. The rest is up to you to find out and I'm not gonna spoil anything here. Now, the story you're writing here is nowhere near as good as something like the first Last of Us or something. The voice acting of the side characters is also just okay, and most of the characters you meet are forgettable. But my personal biggest gripe with this game's story is the main villain. The main villain of the game is just so poorly written and it's just the definition of generic. Now, after all these negatives I've said about the story is still good. And you must be wondering, how is that? Well, the story is made good by the situations and the set pieces in it. The voice acting for the main characters is good and the voice acting for Crane is absolutely fantastic. It is done by Roger Craig Smith, the same guy who did the acting for Batman in Batman Arkham Origins. This is off topic, but I'm so glad for the fact that Batman Arkham Origins is finally getting the love it deserves. You can change Crane's outfits as well, but as this is a first-person game, majority of your outfit will only be visible to other people in online co-op. There are many plot twists and turns in the story which are gonna have you at the edge of your seat. The game constantly puts you in epic situations. The set pieces and the stakes set up in the story are really good and there's a nice sense of urgency where there needs to be. There are some interesting characters here who are a part of the main story, and the writing of these interesting characters is good as it does not portray anyone as a complete ass or a complete saint. It's like the portrayal of the pandemic in this game is so believable that everyone has a gray sense of morality. You know, you must have found that out during this pandemic we're in. There is a nice blend of grittiness and self-aware goofiness here. The game knows when to take itself seriously and when to drop all the seriousness. And even though I didn't like the following DLC story, I have to admit it has its moments as well. Now, the side missions range from being okay to good. There's only like 6 or 7 rememberable side missions in the game which do something different. And there's other activities as well, like combat challenges, parkour challenges, quarantine zones, and the other random events in the world. The random events are mostly just saving somebody, answering distress calls, collecting supply drops before other survivors show up to them first, and escort missions. And as the story moves forward, you also get access to new areas in the game. These areas are varied from each other and give rise to opportunity for different missions and different gameplay strats. I'll talk about the areas more in the gameplay section of the video. Dying Light achieves something with its horror, which is rarely seen in most horror games. What I'm referring to here is horror without overly depending on jump scares. The horror here is based on claustrophobia in indoor areas where you are constantly put in situations with many zombies and sometimes even bigger and stronger zombies. It is not how you're gonna beat the zombies that is scary. It is the concern of being cornered in a space that might get crammed that produces the sense of frightening here. The other scary situations in the game are because of night. During night, zombies are enhanced and a powerful breed of zombies comes into play as well, called the volatiles. These volatiles are very strong and athletic. They chase you relentlessly and can kill you really quickly, so in most situations running away and trying to lose them is the best idea. Or if you're feeling brave and confident about a new weapon you made or bought, you can also do this.
It is what it is.
Couple that with the reduced visibility and the fact that some tasks or missions can only be completed during night, Dying Light becomes tense as hell. Now I'm not gonna lie, I do have a problem with the night mechanic, and that is outside the night only missions that I just mentioned, there is no strong incentive to play the game at night other than the fact that double the experience points are gained. Playing during night seems like a fair risk-reward situation at first, but in my opinion it really isn't. The indoor areas though are pure tension-filled atmospheric fun, and I just like them more, man. But hey, that's just personal preference. I can't believe how well this game's visuals and graphics have aged, in case of the enhanced edition at least, and that is mainly because of the color tones, lighting, and the overall art style. Now often some surface textures do look kinda bad when you stop and view them up really close, but because of the type of gameplay Dying Light has, this isn't gonna be very noticeable for most people. I'll expand upon this in the gameplay section as well. But the bottom line is, the game overall still looks very good. The environments, human enemies, weapons, zombies, blood, and the gore, especially the blood and gore, look great. The amount of blood here is exaggerated in the best way possible. Human allies also look good, though the hair on some characters looks bad and tagged on sometimes. Whether it be Haran's slums, tall buildings, interior sewers, or the sprawling fields of the countryside, the game looks awesome in all these situations. It looks filthy and disgusting in the best sense possible. I don't know how else to explain it, but what I do know is that is why the visuals of the game are such a big part of the game being so atmospheric and immersive. And it runs as it should as well. Alongside all the DLC that keeps coming out for this game, the developers have also made sure to patch the game for any performance issues that are apparent. Obviously, there are going to be frame drops in areas with extreme amounts of zombies, that's just how it is, but the performance does not dip in areas where it has no reason to do so. The game runs well on PlayStation as well as the PC, and there were no stutters or visual bugs during my entire playthrough. The sound design of Dying Light is absolutely phenomenal. This is the one category in this video where I don't have a single problem. Like, the sound in this game is so much better than most games, it's not even fair. The soundtrack or music is great, with every track fitting the situation it's played in perfectly, and the main theme of the game is just so good. But the real star of the show here is sound effects, man. The sound effects are borderline perfect. Everything from crafting to hitting with things to shooting guns to parkour, it all just sounds so good. The zombie sound effects have also been mastered here. There's a sense of crunchiness and crispiness in every sound effect. It is impossible for me to explain why the audio design is as good as it is. So yeah, I'll stop now. You just need to know that it's magnificent. The game sounds incredible. Now coming to the best part about the game, the gameplay. This is some of the most fun you can have playing video games. I'm not even kidding. Looting and crafting is essential to the game. You can loot your surroundings, indoor areas, and dead bodies to find materials and items. You also have a survivor sense, which is basically his detective vision, and it highlights close by enemies and lootable items in the environment. Some of the items you find can be used directly, though most of these items are used to craft different items such as weapons, lockpicks, healing items, throwables, and more. You can craft items by going into the crafting section of the menu where it shows what you need to make the item. Crafting requires blueprints, and you can get these blueprints by searching the environments or completing missions. There is so much weapon variety here, and you can find and buy a lot of diabolical weapons, but crafting is the main way to get some truly insane ones. And the developers are constantly adding more weapons, upgrades, and items in the game. What I like about this is you can take a base weapon which is already powerful and you can turn it into something super overkill. You got an assault rifle? Well, you can turn it into a cyberpunk rifle whose bullets are also electrically charged. No weapon or item in the game requires unreasonably high amounts of materials to craft. Weapons also get damaged over time and only have limited repairability, so one weapon can't be used forever. But there's a very good feature here which makes broken weapons useful in their own right as well. You see, repairing weapons requires metal parts which can be found in the game world, but also instead of selling them off, you can dismantle a broken weapon to get metal parts to repair damaged weapons. Upgrading weapons is also super streamlined as well. You get a certain amount of upgrade slots in the weapons depending on the rarity. Once you apply an upgrade to a slot, it can't be switched out for a new one in the same slot. All these mechanics make you think about the weapons you have in your inventory and also makes you think before you apply upgrades to them. Now let's talk about the action in the game, goddammit. The combat here is superb, but I do have one problem with it, and I'm going to get it out of the way first. The one problem is with human enemies. Now, human gunfights are good, and I have no issues with human gunfights, but to me personally, melee fighting human enemies feels like a chore. It does get better a bit once you eventually get to better weapons, but it never felt like a satisfying experience to me, and that is a shame considering how great the zombie fighting is, which is the majority of the game, to be honest. So I personally rushed guns blazing even in melee fight situations with human beings. From what has been shown as of now of Dying Light 2, it will have way better human melee combat, and that is such a good thing. But as I said, other than that one personal gripe, the action in the game is superb and it is satisfying as shit. Bro. The combat of the game evolves gradually from surviving zombies at first to then whooping their ass later on. Alongside guns, there are one-handed and two-handed melee weapons in the game, and both are useful in different situations. I mainly use single-handed weapons for most of my playtime, but when I finally decided to craft an amazing two-handed weapon, I found myself switching between both on multiple occasions in the middle of close quarters fights. When you attack with melee weapons, you consume combat stamina, which regenerates automatically. Two-handed weapons use more stamina than one-handed weapons, but do more damage as well in most situations. If you completely deplete the combat stamina, Crane will become tired and it'll take you a while to be effective in combat again. But because the developers know what they're doing, counteract the combat stamina depletion, you also have the option to use kicks. Kicks don't do a lot of damage but are useful in stunning or creating some separation between you and the enemy. And it also gives your stamina some time to regenerate. Every hit in the game feels so good because of all the other aspects of the game I mentioned earlier, like sound and visuals. The amount of camera shake is so perfectly tuned as well. The guns in the game are very good, and I already gave you an example of one of the insane weapons you can craft. But in my opinion, the melee combat is more fun than using guns. Decapitating and dismembering enemies with insane amounts of gore is the most satisfying ever, and that is also because of the zombie or character physics in Dying Light. I can talk about the zombie physics in this game all day, but nobody's got time for that. So instead, I recommend that you watch this video. You're already seeing the gameplay, man. You can tell the zombie physics are almost perfect. The standard zombies in Dying Light are so dumb, which is exactly like they should be, and it is so fun to find different ways to exploit their dumb behavior. There is a lot of room for creativity here, and you can have so much fun by experimenting. The environments assist your zombie killing. There is good enemy variety, and the zombies you fight as boss battles at first show up in the game later along with regular zombies as well. Oh yeah, and this game also has the best dropkick of all time. Now, as you might have been able to tell from all the gameplay on your screen, the other half of the gameplay is parkour. I can't talk about the awesome parkour system here without talking about the game world of Haran. This is what a fun and interactable open world means. The slums have buildings of shorter height, so you are closer to the zombies on ground level. Leaping between these buildings and then buildings to cars to keep the straight motion going is such a rewarding feeling. You don't have a lot of verticality in sewers, so strafing during your sprints is important to avoid attacks from zombies that can break your flow. And in the countryside, well, it's mainly just your epic buggy which you can use to run over zombies and cruise the landscapes. And now the best for last, Old Town. In my opinion, Old Town is where the best parkour happens. Tall buildings in Old Town and the parkour in this game go together like peanut butter and jelly. The amount of ziplines in the environment are increased to assist quick descents, alongside the fact that you'll be alright if you jump from any height as long as you land on cars or trash bags. Yes, Jake Paul is in the game as well. Maneuvering from one tall building to another by sprinting, vaulting, climbing, rolling to slaughter zombies, or keeping the momentum up by improvising through high up interiors is satisfying as hell. And while we're on this topic, let's talk about the accessible interiors here. The amount of accessibility here is mind-boggling. It is absolutely ridiculous how many interiors are enterable in this game. And I'm not just talking about Old Town. The shorter buildings in the slums as well have just so many accessible interiors, man. As I said before, you can loot interiors. They are the place where you find really good loot, but also you can cut through these interiors during parkour to avoid interruptions. And we are not even done, boy, because we haven't talked about the skills or the upgrade system in this game, which makes the already astonishing combat and parkour even better. There are 3 main types of experience points, plus one more type that you can gain in the following DLC. You gain these points by doing things linked to them. Gaining a certain amount of experience points increases the level of the particular stat and gives you a skill point. You can use these skill points to get upgrades in the respective upgrade tree. The upgrade system implemented here is almost perfect for this game. Like, first of all, look at how neat the menus look. I love upgrade trees like this that are straight to the point. You can actually see your combat and parkour animations get faster and better during the gameplay as you level up your stats. The sense of progression here is very strong, and the upgrades themselves are game-changing. Almost every upgrade in the game feels worth it, not just the ones that increase your stamina meters and crap. You can get an upgrade that allows you to make potions like you're a freaking witcher. There's an upgrade that allows you to leap over enemies using them as a stepping stone. There's charged attacks, there's finishers. You can even get a grappling hook to make the traversal even more spectacular. All I have to say is the combination of these upgrades and mixing and using the combat and parkour together is sensational levels of fun. The last thing I want to mention is co-op. The co-op is available in both story missions and free roam, and there are also regular online events in the game. You know how it is, man. Even a game that is already as good as this one is more fun with friends. The developers have continued supporting the game with new updates, with weapons, skins and all, till this day, even though we are so close to the release of Dying Light 2. And that is why this game has gotten so much better and content rich over the years. These updates are what have kept so many players coming back to the game and have kept many concurrent players available for online play. I'm almost certain that I missed some things in this video, so please feel free to talk about them and let me know your thoughts on this video in the comments down below. So what I'm saying here is, play Dying Light, my dudes. I don't know how Dying Light 2 is gonna top this game, but it's already looking better than it. So yeah, to say that I'm excited for Dying Light 2 is an understatement. This video took so much work, and I can't thank all of you who watched this video till the end enough. Please be sure to share this video with your friends or anyone that you might think might like this video. It will help spread the word about this amazing game and this small channel of mine. That's it. I'm grateful that you watched this entire video, and I'll see you next time. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Bye bye.